You did kind of. Okay, we're live. Welcome.
Thank
Kevin,
you.
your head keeps like going in and out.
I'm going to try to make myself brighter here. I don't know what's happening.
Yeah, I don't know what's going on. So, okay, well, welcome everybody to LinkedIn Live. I'm Stephanie Marone, joined by my esteemed guest.
Kevin Iredell, great to meet you. Great to
Great
see
to
you.
meet you. Great to see you. Kev, how long have we known each other?
I have no idea. 20 years? 15 years?
Yeah, I think it's been like 20 years.
I think
Yeah.
we met in kindergarten. Well, you were in
Yeah.
kindergarten. I was like third grade.
Oh my God. Do you want to hear a really funny story? I was at the Dave Matthews Band concert a few weeks ago, and I was sitting next to these two guys. And one of the guys said, "How did you get these tickets?" I said, "Oh, I got them through the fan club." I was like, "I've been a member for like 22 years." And he was like, "Oh my God, were you like 5 when you joined?" And I was like, yeah, because he was like, I guess 28 and didn't realize that I was, older. So
Wow,
yeah.
good. That's good. That says a
So
lot.
yeah, it was really good. All right, so we are here, and I am. Oh my goodness, I'm muting this, but we have a lot of people who have joined us. So tell us who's here. Put it in the comments, and make sure you connect with Kevin and I on LinkedIn and all the other channels. But tell us who's here. We've got like almost 40 people live.
Wow.
So that's
Okay.
really cool. That's a record for me. Yesterday was 2 people. Just kidding. So Kevin, tell us about you. What do you do for those who don't know you?
Sure. Yeah. So, Kevin Iredell again. I am the Chief Marketing Officer at Lowenstein Sandler. We are a national law firm, 5 offices across the U.S., 350 or so lawyers. Yeah, I've been there about 4 years. I've been in the legal market for 20, and I am looking at January 1st. I'm the president-elect of the Legal Marketing Association. So
Woohoo!
got a little bit going on.
I know, that's so exciting. Okay, I
Very
want to
exciting.
hear all about these things. Kev, for many years you were in sales, which is how I knew you. You worked for ALM for a long time. So, 2 questions. One question, how did you pivot into in-house world? And number 2, what lessons could legal marketers and lawyers learn from a salesperson? I feel like
Yeah.
there's so many.
So great questions. And I would say, my roles at service providers, I was at Martindale-Hubbell, I was at LexisNexis, I was at ALM, I was at Green Target for a while. So, not all of those were sales roles, although I managed some sales teams. So I was, I did some research. I worked with the editorial teams at the American Lawyer. So I had my hands kind of in a lot of different things. And to get to your second question, I really got to know the market, and I really got to know the law firms that were my customers. And that's how I transitioned. So I had been doing a lot of work, obviously, for law firms. They were my primary client at all of the companies that I worked at. So getting to know the partners at the firms, getting to know what their needs are, who their clients were, speaking to corporate counsel and finding out, what their buying process was like and how they go about finding a law firm and finding outside counsel, and then being able to bring that information back to the law firms I was dealing with, kind of, I don't know, made me very interesting to some firms. And so
Yeah,
that's
I mean, how would you say that experience informs what you do today in terms of having been on that side of things?
yeah. So I feel like, I've kind of been on all 3 sides. I worked for a media company. I wasn't a journalist, but I worked very closely with them and provided data and insights to help their reporting efforts.
Yeah, I remember when you were there. I mean, you worked on the legendary Green Target survey of,
That's right. That's
that
right.
it's like the Bible to me, the
Yeah.
content Bible.
So that was one side. The other side was, selling both to law firms and service providers. But we also had products that I sold to corporate counsel.
Hmm.
So, I was selling to the same people that law firms were selling their services to. So I got to see it from both sides. And then of course, all of the competitive intelligence that I was doing for law firms
Yeah.
about other law firms just really gave me unique insight. So moving into a law firm role was kind of, it felt to me like a natural progression of my career.
Yeah. What do you like most about being in-house?
I like the people that I work
Mhm.
with. So from the other marketers and business development people that I work with, the other chiefs that I work with across all the different functions at the firm, and the lawyers. They are, a really unique, interesting, well-educated, wicked smart group of people, and they're just fun to debate with and talk with and ideate with and just kind of hang out with. So it makes every day a challenge,
Yeah.
which is great, and it makes it fun to go to work every day.
Yeah. What was your favorite project that you worked on this year?
Ooh, this year, wow, we worked on a few.
You can give
Um,
me a few. You can.
okay, so we expanded our podcast series this year.
Your podcast series is awesome.
So I mean, that was something that I wanted to do when I got to the firm, and it took a little bit of time to find the right group. And once the right group got a hold of it, our insurance recovery group, and Linda Bennett is the host of
Mhm.
our series, just celebrated. Well, I want to say we just celebrated 50 episodes this year, but I think they're past that now. They might be close to 60 episodes. So they're just pumping them out. Our clients love them. They look for them. They look forward to them. They ask when the next one's coming out, which is great. And we've now expanded to like 7 other practices that now are doing a regular podcast series. And then we have a group from
Wow.
our Women's Initiative Network.
Yes, that's the one I know.
I mean, that is just, you know, human nature kind of, human interest kind of topics from
Hmm.
their perspective, women in the working world. It's not even just at a law firm. And they are just a talented, super interesting group of people. I love that podcast. I love listening to it. So yeah.
I have
So
an idea for that podcast, actually. I'm going to message you about it for the
yeah, let's hear it. Let's
yeah, for
hear
the
it.
research I've been doing for women who wow and just the
Yep.
very extraordinary, interesting relationships that women have in the workplace with mean girls and all that stuff. I think that could be interesting. So I have a
Very nice.
topic for you. So who
Yeah,
knows? Like buy one, get one free here.
that
You
would be
come on
that
my
would be great.
podcast, you come on my LinkedIn Live. Is this your first LinkedIn Live, Kev?
I think it is. I think it
Oh,
is.
I'm
It
so
is.
glad. I'm so glad it's with me, a friendly person. This won't be like a hard-hitting journalistic interview. But
Okay,
if
good.
anyone does have questions for Kevin, like please feel free to put them in the chat and we'll get to them as
Yeah.
well. So Kev, like what are you thinking for 2023? What do you think law firms should be thinking about? What's on your mind? Do you think this recession or a slowdown and stuff is happening? We saw Cooley laid off a number of excess attorneys, as they said. Not great timing, Cooley. But it's probably going to continue to happen. So what do you think we're poised for seeing, and what's top of mind for you as the CMO of a very prestigious, mid-sized firm?
Yeah. So, there's a lot smarter people than me that are commenting on whether there's going to be a recession in the US, how bad it's going to be, how long it's going to last. So, I would only be speculating or worse guessing about what's going to happen. But I will say, for me, whenever there's uncertainty, this is the time to focus on business development,
Yes.
right? Not when everything's going well and you got a whole pipeline full of potential projects coming in, right? That's when people kind of ease up on the gas a little and whatever.
Mhm.
But now is the time to really double down, talk to your clients, get out there, do stuff like this, just be visible
Yeah.
and listen to what the needs of your clients are and the needs in the space where you're providing services, because
In yeah.
it's competition in uncertain times. Competition is going to get harder, and so now's the time. Don't take your foot off the gas. You need to
I
be out.
agree. I was just going to add to that and just say that, in good times and bad, and especially bad times, as we saw during COVID, when firms were like, I feel like it was such nervous energy, but they were like producing like 10 client alerts a day and they're like bombarding their client. Like they didn't know what to do. So they were putting their energy in that place. So,
Yeah.
um,
Well, and
we're
that's a good point. That's a
never
good
a bad
point
idea.
because there was a need
Yeah.
for all of those client alerts and all of
Mhm.
that information. Regulations were changing, the rules were changing all the time, and clients needed that information. So there was, again, times of uncertainty. People don't know what to do. They look to their law firm partners and their other consulting partners to help out. And so it's a busy time.
If you can be the one providing that sound advice for them and helping them navigate through what this means, then by all means, you should be absolutely producing that content. I believe, Kevin, that client alerts and blog posts and podcasts, like you said, are like the most important thought leadership stuff to stay top of mind with clients and prospects and referrals,
Yeah.
especially because nobody likes that checking in email, right?
Mhm.
Uh, Nobody likes it. So,
That's right.
so, what's like on your priority list for some of the projects that you want to do or as a team, as a department, as a firm in 2023? Is there anything that, you're sort of like, or even carry over from this year?
Yeah. So, the second thing that I was excited about that's going to carry over is video. So
Yeah.
we've been doing a lot more video. We've been migrating some of our blogs to videos, which
Oh,
have been,
which is so easy to do, by the way. And it's called repurposing your content,
that's right.
guys, which is like basically, Kev, did you know my middle name is Repurpose?
I did know that. I did know that.
Stephanie
And credit to
Repurpose
you. You've been
Marone.
telling me that for years.
Create
Repurpose your
once and
content.
publish
Repurpose.
everywhere, and that I've also been we're gonna talk about the holidays in a little bit, but it's either Stephanie Clark Griswold Marone or Stephanie Repurpose Your Content
That's right.
Marone, depending
That's
on
right.
this.
Yeah, so video for sure in 23. I want to get as many people as I can to record things, and we're repurposing a lot of things on the web. We're doing some new video snippets and bios that we haven't done before, so that's
Oh,
kind of
video
fun.
snippets and bios.
Hmm.
I
Yep,
love that.
yep.
Who does your website, Kev? Who's the back end?
So there's a company called Multimedia Solutions, and they have been a great partner. They don't do a whole lot of law firms, but
That's actually a good thing, I
they
think,
do a couple, right? They do a lot of financial services firms, so they're a good sized company, but we're very happy with them.
That's
So
great. So video, that's gonna and you know that I hate video, Kevin,
yeah,
but
I know. Well, that's because you're shy.
I'm
So
so shy, but and I was telling Kevin this morning, I texted him like, we were reminding each other about today's program, and I was like, this memory on Facebook came up where we did this video at the Legal Marketing Association New York party where I talked all about like your marketing strategy. It was just such a fun video. I was like randomly like roving reporter kind of thing,
right.
but yeah, I
Yeah.
do love it. As president of the Legal Marketing Association, I hope that you will make me an honorary video segment reporter for the association. So I'm
I think
available.
I do. I think that that's a huge opportunity for the Legal Marketing Association to get the message out there and to show more of what we do for the industry and for law firms
Yeah.
and business
Do
developers
LinkedIn
and
Lives.
research.
By the way, a tip for you law firms out there, the podcast that you do, you could also do a LinkedIn Live to promote it, do a little snippet of it. You could
Yeah.
take a podcast, turn it into like a short little video clip. There's so many things you can do. And Kevin asked me about like how I set up LinkedIn Live. For those of you, I think a lot of people don't know how to do this. You have to get a third party streaming service. So most people, Rob Cates told me what to do. I called him and I'm like, Rob, what do I do? Because I'm not tech savvy. It's a one-stop shop here, one woman shop. He was like, get StreamYard. You basically integrate StreamYard with LinkedIn. You have to have LinkedIn creator mode turned on, and you can go LinkedIn live on a company page, Kevin. So you could do it on
Mhm.
Lowenstein.
Mhm.
Lowenstein.
Lowenstein.
Shit. Sorry. I keep messing that up. Okay.
You get the
And
censors are going to come in here.
yeah, maybe. I don't know if there are any on LinkedIn Live.
Well, let's
So
not push it. Let's
let's
not
not
try
push
that.
it. Yeah. So yeah, you could actually go live there too. But if anyone wants to know how to go live, trust me, if I can do it, you can because I am not tech savvy. So Kev, we have some questions, and this goes with the question I was going to ask you about your LMA involvement. So Jeff Reed, hey Jeff Reed, asks, how did you get involved in LMA? What was your path, and why did you get involved? And I was going to ask you that as well. I want to add on a question. What do you plan to do as president?
Yeah. Okay.
Okay, so how did you get involved in LMA? What was your path, and why did you get involved?
Yeah, I started out, I was working at Martindale Hubble, and Tim Corcoran was the head of sales at Martindale Hubble at the time. And he was a big proponent of LMA, a big supporter, and encouraged everybody to get involved. At Martindale, it was mostly salespeople that were LMA members because that was their target audience. But as a marketer, he encouraged me to join because these were my people.
Yeah.
So I could have different conversations with marketers as a fellow marketer than as a service provider or salesperson. And so that's how I got involved. And again, these were my people. So I volunteered for some committees. I joined it was the vendor relations committee at the time, or the service provider SIG now it's called. So I just got involved, and every year, I tried to do something different and something more. And it's been 20 years that I've been a member. So
Oh
it's
my
been,
god, I know we served on a board
that's right.
together, maybe several boards, like maybe the New York board and I was gonna
Yeah,
say the Middle East, the
the
Northeast
Northeast.
board,
Yeah, that's right.
yeah, the LMA Dubai chapter. So we were part of the Northeast board, and
Yeah.
then Kevin, how did you parlay your uh, regional experience and the local experience into becoming part of the national international board? And what would you recommend to people who are interested in doing that as well?
Yes. So I would say get as involved as you can and try different things, because again, I was kind of trying things out. I didn't know. I heard different things about the city groups and the regions and the international board, and so the just by volunteering and showing up and seeing what was happening, that's how I got a taste of what the different positions were about. So I served on the New York board as treasurer prior to joining the international board as a member at large. After my service on the international board, I actually went back to the Northeast, and that's when we served together. So I had
Yeah,
already been on the international board. I went back to the region. Again, different circumstances with work. And at the time, I had billable hour requirements. And so, I didn't want to be spending a whole lot of time traveling around the country, but I could dedicate some time in the New York region. So that's why I chose to do that. When that was up, I went back on the international board. So that's kind of how it went. And it was just what was right for me at the time and how I could be of service to the association.
yeah. What are your plans for what you want to do when you become president?
Um, I don't know the answer to that yet. I think things are so up in the air because everybody's just coming back from COVID, and we're
Yeah,
starting to get some semblance of normalcy that luckily January 1st, I take over as president elect. So I have a little bit of time to think about this and what I
yeah.
want to do in 24.
What does
But
the president elect do, by the way?
so the president elect sits on the executive committee, has some responsibilities for some of the finances, some of the governance, some of the nominations that happen, and then just shadows the president and make sure that I'm all set to go. I think probably the biggest piece is thinking about the annual conference that would happen in 24 when I'm the president.
Oh, I know. I'm so excited. I'm actually going this year.
Excellent.
After taking a hiatus, and so it's in Hollywood, Florida.
I
So
can't wait. Can't
yeah,
wait. It's going to
so
be great.
I haven't been in a while. Like I haven't been to a lot of conferences. It's I'm a pretty extroverted person, but even I was like, I don't know. I took a break from
Yeah.
everything over the last few years.
Well, I think we're seeing that everywhere. It's not
Yeah,
just the Legal Marketing Association. It's pretty much every conference has been down, but trending back upwards.
yeah. I mean,
So by
you know,
24, I think hopefully we'll be back in the full swing of things, and we'll have 4,000 people come to the annual conference, and it'll be great.
That's what I'm hoping for too. So, Kevin, here's a question from Chad Bell. He says, "Do you have any marketing strategy tips for complex litigation plaintiff firms which have less of a repeat client base? They're obviously different than more traditional defense side
Mhm.
firms."
Mhm. Um, it would be so yes, and it would be very similar advice to the regular litigation folks um, that I talk to, and that is get your name out there, right?
Mhm.
So whatever your focus is, whatever industry that you focus on, where most of your clients come from, get involved, write articles, do podcasts, because even if you don't capture somebody that minute, if it lives on your website and you're doing your search engine optimization properly, people are going to find you. So it's a cumulative kind of effort. It's not just one and done. We didn't get anybody from that and move on. Same with being quoted in the press on
Yeah.
particular issues. Um, Again, writing articles, but really maximizing your website to house those things, because a lot of times it's not about lead generation. It's about credentialing.
Yeah. And
And if somebody,
visibility, top of
right,
mind awareness, all of those things. It's an amalgamation
that's right.
of the things that you do showing up. And this like also Kevin, when people say to me, well, I don't know how to get ROI, or like, why am I posting on LinkedIn? Why am I doing this webinar? Why
Right.
am I president of the trade association? Because that's another thing I would recommend that your lawyers get involved
Yep.
in, community service stuff, trade association organizations, but make sure they're going to do a good job. Like if
Well,
Kevin was a
and
terrible president, it would be
yeah,
really bad for his brand?
well, that's true too. But right, and if you write a terrible article, I mean, you could go down that path.
Right,
But
exactly.
let's assume that's not going to happen.
Yeah.
Most references, most referred business comes from personal referrals.
Yeah.
But the second step in that, they don't just pick up the phone and call you. If somebody says, I need a lawyer, and they say, oh, my friend Stephanie's a great lawyer, I'm not just going to pick up the phone. I'm going to take your name and I'm going to Google you. And I'm going to see what you know about me, what you know about my industry, what other kinds of work you've done. That's the credentialing part, that there's a really long tail of ROI there. So this
Yeah.
could be something that you wrote a year ago that I didn't have a need for the last 11 months, and all of a sudden I do. And guess what? That article hit the spot. That's why you're going to get the phone call. So again, to answer the question, I would say it's similar to other business development efforts. It's getting out there, being consistent, maximizing your website, maximizing your search engine optimization.
Cumulative effect, I think,
It
makes a
really
big
is.
difference. So, and especially like with litigation where you might not have repeat business, it's also so important to be visible and to be active and to referrals can't,
I talked to a litigator once as part of a business development coaching, and I was telling him this, and I was saying, this is he was meeting with a client or a potential client for lunch. We went through everything, his credentials and the things that he wrote, and I said, if they don't have a need right now, just talk. Sprinkle in a little bit about what you focus on and some of the things you've done, and maybe something will stick. And he went and had lunch, and he came back and he said, yeah, he doesn't really have anything right now, but he'll keep me in mind. The next day, that company got sued. It's something they had talked about, and the client called him and said, hey, come back in because I have this need. And he called me and he's like, it worked.
Yeah. I mean, that's an amazing thing when it happens like the next day. I
It was
mean,
literally the next day.
that
And
is,
and it was, yesterday, everything you told me didn't work and I didn't get any business. But the next day it worked.
yeah, I mean, okay, so here's a great example. So when I went off on my own and started my own business, you're somebody I told, and you had me come in and do a training for your marketing team
Yep.
right away. And so that was because, you knew what I did and you thought I did it relatively, okay-ish. And you were like, okay, now I have a need and now she's doing this. So the relationships that you're building from years and years and years, and I would tell you, like Kevin did the exact same thing when he was on the other side, as the service provider selling things or helping people with research. He was also building those relationships for down the line when he could be on the other side. And ultimately, probably you like in part got your job, and is how I get my clients through people who know me and
It's
think I'm not terrible.
it's
So
all about relationships.
it is all about relationship. Kevin, so further to this, let's talk about personal branding. So obviously I use LinkedIn and writing and speaking and vehicles like this to build my brand. It was always a challenge for me when I was in house as a marketing professional working for a law firm to find the right balance of building my own brand and promoting the firm and also not outshining the firm and not like I never wanted the firms I worked for to feel like I was looking for another job, but like that's unfortunately like just by the nature of like the industry that we're in, when you become too visible, it can be frowned upon for a number of reasons. So I'm curious, a couple of things. How did you build your personal brand? And what advice do you have for people who work, full time and want to maintain that balance of not even like somebody said to me like once I posted at 11 o'clock and the lawyer said, well, aren't you supposed to be doing our work? And I said, well, I wrote that post earlier and I actually scheduled it. It's like, but there's the
Yeah.
perception, right? I mean,
Yeah.
this was pre-COVID.
Yeah.
So tackle that any way you want, but I think it could be an interesting. I'd love to hear what you have to say on this topic.
I think the number one step or the number one priority is to define your audience.
Hmm.
Who is it that you're trying to reach? Who are your people? Because there's nothing worse than seeing, well, this is probably going to offend half of the marketing association, but when I see junior marketers posting all about the latest regulation
Yeah,
or
I
ruling
knew
from
you were gonna say
FINRA
that.
and SEC, right? You know, who are they talking to? Right? Who's
I
their
know.
audience? Who are they trying to reach? Because they're not practicing lawyers, and I know that maybe they do understand all of the ins and outs of it, but who are they talking to? Certainly, they're not talking to me, right? So know your audience. If you're looking for another job, and so recruiters are your audience, or HR hiring professionals are your audience. Those are the people that you're going to want to talk to
Yeah.
in terms of the articles you write, the types of podcasts that you go on and speak at, and that's gonna color your activities. Um, if if your audience is other legal marketers and you're trying to network and you're trying to learn, then your posts should reflect that, and that'll attract other people, right? The Trying to boil the ocean and building your brand across, anybody that moves and just trying to get followers or get likes or whatever, that's pretty short-sighted, and that doesn't usually last.
Mhm.
I've tried to limit who I connect with
Mhm.
to people that I find interesting, people that people that I would want to have a relationship with in real life, right? If somebody sends me a blind connection request and we don't have any common connections, and I know that they just found my name on Google or a search, I don't generally connect with them. But if there's some kind of connection, they seem interesting, and it's a topic I'm interested in, then I'll connect. And so I do the same thing. I don't send blind connection requests
Right.
to people without a note explaining why.
Mhm.
I know so and so. They said we should connect or whatever. So staying true to who you are and who your audience is, I think then your brand is just a collection of all the things that you're doing online and who you are. And so then it's authentic because you're
Yeah.
not trying to be all things to all people.
And I think you can build your brand also with the things like Kevin's doing with that legal marketing association service and any trade association service. That's why I was saying you should do a good job because you always want to like make sure you're leaving a very good impression on the people that you're coming in
Right.
contact with. But if they remember you as someone who was a team player on a committee and who was really smart and had great ideas, guess what? They may hire you down the line for something else. And the instant repost feature on LinkedIn is not a good feature. I mean, it makes it easy for people to post things, but Kevin, that's like normally why we're seeing these posts of like, somebody in the
Mhm.
marketing department or somebody who doesn't really have a connection, not really sure what that connection is to the item itself, just reposting it doesn't do anybody any good. A
That's
better
right.
thing to do would be to say, I am the business development manager in charge of, working for the litigation practice and we worked on this watershed matter and it was a lot of work and I worked on the RFP and we got it and I'm so
That's right.
excited kind of thing,
Yep.
or like you you slaved away on 89 chamber submissions, and you're really proud of the fact that the firm is honored and humbled to receive,
That's right.
your
Yeah,
ranking.
it's all
Tell a
about being
story.
authentic.
Yeah,
Yeah.
I agree with you. Okay,
Yep.
Kevin. So let's move the conversation a little bit to um, the holidays. Okay, so you can tell my house is a little holiday-ish. I like the holidays. My middle name is Clark Griswold. Kevin, what is your favorite like holiday pastime? Like, what do you guys do with your family? Like, what do you bake anything? I don't think you do.
Well, no, but I do hold the world record for eating the most cookies throughout the
Oh,
holiday season. Yeah.
okay.
I think
I can see that.
there's not a day that goes by that I don't have half a dozen or a dozen chocolate chip cookies
How
or
do you stay thin?
Christmas cookies. Well, it's the elf diet. So it's, a lot of hot chocolate, a lot of marshmallow, a lot of whipped cream. Yeah, it's all
What's
good.
your favorite holiday movie?
Elf.
I know, it's so good. I saw the Broadway show of Elf, and
Did you?
it was
I haven't
amazing.
seen it on Broadway, but I do. It's just it's
Yeah,
such a
it was.
great show.
No, it was. I love that movie. It's such a good one, and there are just so many good quotes, and he's just so silly. Like it
That's
makes
right.
me giggle every time.
That's right. I love
What
it.
are what are you doing for the holidays?
We'll spend. Let me try that again. We will spend some of the holidays here. My girls are home from college,
Oh,
so
good.
that'll be nice. We'll spend some time with my in-laws, who aren't very far away, and then we saw most of my family. We saw over Thanksgiving, so we'll travel a little and stay home a little and just enjoy it.
Yeah, that's what I'm doing too. So Kevin, you're a fisherman. So how did you like become a fisherman, and like what tips do you have for others on fishing? Do you have any?
I don't know how I became a fisherman. I think some of my earliest memories are just having gone fishing with my dad and my
Yeah.
brothers. And then every summer, I would just fish as much as I could as a kid from the dock, from the beach, from a rental boat, whatever I could get my hands on. And then it just kind of progressed from there. As I start working and you make a little more money, you buy a nicer rod, you get some more gear, you
Mhm.
go out on the more expensive charter boats, and it just goes. But there's something about being out on the water that it's part of my DNA, I think.
Yeah. What would you do if a shark approached you? How would you deal with a shark? Do you have any
So I've gone shark fishing and I've seen sharks out when I've been fishing for other things. They've circled the boat, and you just kind of leave them alone. They leave you alone. I don't really like being in the water with them, but
I don't really know anybody who likes being in the water with a shark, right? But
yeah.
actually, that's a great analogy to what we do every single day. Working with lawyers and law firms, it's like swimming with the sharks, right?
Well, no,
No,
no.
I'm just kidding. I don't know if they say like punch a shark if it comes like go like this if it comes near you. Sometimes they say most shark attacks like they don't want human flesh actually. They don't like it.
That's
They
right.
get confused. And so that's why and then
Confused or curious.
there's
Right.
a
And
couple under the sea, but they're actually not looking to eat you. So
right, right.
that's just something to keep in mind.
Yeah, I think most people who get attacked from sharks, they don't see the shark coming. So there's no opportunity to punch them in the face or stab them in the
Right.
eye or anything. It's too late. And I would say if you're in the water, if you're in the ocean, there are sharks around. I've seen big sharks off the beach in New Jersey and South Carolina and Florida. They're all over the place. So if you're in the salt water, there's a shark around.
Yeah.
But they
So
don't, like, to your point, they don't actually like to eat people. They just,
yeah.
sometimes they make a mistake.
It's it's a little bit more than you guys bargained for in this LinkedIn Live. You're getting shark attack tips. Kevin, what's let's close out with like so what's your firm holiday card like this year?
So we don't do a firm holiday card.
Mm,
It's really up to the individual lawyers to send out their own holiday greetings and gifts and or
because
not
it's the
gifts. Or,
worst project ever and it's going to be a snowflake.
yeah, I mean, luckily the firms that I've worked at, none of them have ever done holiday cards
Okay,
when
I'm
I was
working for
there.
the wrong firms because I'm like doing 6 holiday cards this
Yeah.
year and I am out of creative ideas.
I think that there's a place for it, of course, especially if, if you have a small client base and they're kind of accustomed to it and you can customize the greeting from the
Yeah.
practice chairs or whoever is sending it. But the big the big holiday blasts with the little snowflakes or the
Happy
tinsel on
holidays
the
in
Christmas
different
tree.
languages or a tree with 4
Yeah,
different leaves like the seasons.
yeah. I'm more a fan of kind of the one-on-one communications,
Mhm.
something that means something that's a little bit more heartfelt
Yeah.
than a blast. But to each his own, and have fun with those projects.
Yeah, have fun, guys. It's been a blast. Kevin, what's the best legal marketing you've ever seen? Like anything come to mind besides your own firm? Like anything you've been like, "Oh, wow, I'm really impressed with what they've done."
um,
And there may
well,
not you may not have one, and that's okay
no,
too.
so there are a lot, right? But they're all different categories. So I can't put one over the other. Some of the plaintiff firm stuff with the billboards and the
Yeah.
television commercials. I Some of those are really super creative and
Yeah.
they're targeted to their audience and they're great and I like those. Some of the really big content pieces that the giant firms put out once in a while, they team up with PwC or
Mhm.
whatever. Those are really interesting. For us, I think that the data-driven research reports are those are like you mentioned the Green Target State of Digital that
Yeah,
we
they
used
put
to
you in
do.
a different category where you are the news source, which means
Yeah,
that you
when
have
you can
instant
give your
credibility.
clients information and data that they wouldn't otherwise get, I think that's super valuable. So
Yeah, see.
so I think there's a lot of good marketing happening in a lot of different places. So it's hard to pick just one.
I like that answer, just like it's hard to pick, like, your favorite child or your favorite dog. So yeah, I got that. Alright, so any wise words to close out? Like, any final tips, like, for I don't know, let's say, like, what do you think legal marketers should be focused on or and lawyers, like, in the new year? We talked
I
about visibility.
Yeah, I mean, I think legal marketers should always be focused on learning
Mhm.
and looking for new ways to do things and looking outside of the legal market for ideas and whether it's advertising or videos or whatever it is. I think that they should be doing that, but I also think they ought to be looking at the firm's clients
Mhm.
and where do your firm clients advertise? What trade publications do they read? What conferences do they go to? Because the more you can know about clients, the more you can help your partners get to them. So
Yeah.
it's all about learning.
That's gonna be the quote from you for today. Like, the more you know about the clients, the more you know about your clients, the more you can get to them. So
Yeah.
I love that. That's a great way to end. You guys can connect with Kevin on LinkedIn, but not if you're a random person, like you said. And you can talk to him about sharks and fishing and all these great stuff. And you'll catch me watching Elf. And so I hope I get to see you, Kevin, the new year pretty soon.
Yeah,
Thank
I
you
hope so
so
too.
much for joining me and happy holidays. Thanks for being the second LinkedIn Live days of Chris the 12 days of LinkedIn Live. You know what I was trying to say.
I
So
know what you're trying to say. That's right. Well,
thanks,
thanks, Steph. Thanks for
guys.
having me. This was
Yeah,
great.
thank you guys for joining.
All right. See ya.